On May 27, 2001, Randy Johnson towed the rubber during an Arizona Diamondbacks spring training game. The big unit wound up and delivered a blazing fastball against a surely terrified San Francisco Giants hitter. Yet, as the pitch headed to the plate, it appeared to explode in midair. But the spray of feathers that came right after the explosion made it clear that Johnson's pitch collided with an unsuspecting bird. The big unit's bird murder is perhaps the most famous example of something we'll almost certainly never see in a baseball game again. But other one-in-a-million MLB moments were just as improbable as that bird's fatal flight, and which you have may never heard about until today. Almost exactly 8 years before that poor bird learned why Johnson's fastball was so feared, Cleveland Indians icon Carlos Martinez hit the strangest home run of his life. It came on May 26, 1993, in a game against the Texas Rangers. Martinez squared up a ball that headed for the right field warning track, where baseball great Jose Canseco was tracking it down. Canseco, barreling toward the outfield ball, took his eyes off the ball momentarily, which caused one of the MLB's most hilarious plays. Canseco looked back towards the ball, putting his glove, and missed the ball entirely. Instead of finding his glove, the ball found Canseco's head, and then it bounced off Canseco's head and over the fence for a home run. While the strange play was a head-scratcher for those watching, Canseco was probably scratching his head with ice once he returned to the dugout. Although most of our one-in-a-million MLB moments were done by players, this next moment was made by an umpire, and might be the worst mistake in the sport's history. It came on June 2nd, 2010. When Armando Galarraga, pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, was having the best performance of his life. So good, in fact, that he retired the first 26 hitters he faced, and was 1 out away from throwing the 21st perfect game in MLB history. Speedster Jason Donald was the 27th player who came out to bat against Galarraga, and hit a ground ball to first base. Tigers first baseman Miguel Cabrera fielded the ground ball and tossed it to Galarraga, who caught the ball and stepped on first base a step before Donald. At least that's what everybody in the world except for first base umpire Jim Joyce saw. Joyce called Donald safe, ruining Galarraga's perfect game and producing what has got to be the worst call in MLB history. Galarraga has since forgiven Joyce, and the two even wrote a book together titled Nobody's Perfect. Major props to Galarraga for letting that grudge go. If you want to learn about other memorable mistakes that have happened in baseball's esteemed history, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon either. Speaking of incredible pitching performances, our next one-in-a-million MLB moment will surely never be done again. If only because nobody would ever be so insane to try it. Legendary pitcher Doc Ellis was known for being fond of drugs during his baseball career. So much so that he decided to take LSD in between 2 of his starts. During his 1970 season with the Pittsburgh Pirates, all was well with Ellis's plan, until he learned that he had his dates wrong, and was slated to pitch on the same day that he took the drug. Yet, tripping on acid didn't stop Doc from throwing a no-hitter. And what makes this already insane achievement even more memorable is that Ellis walked 8 hitters and hit 1 more with a pitch across the outing. But his head coach kept the faith, and Ellis grooved his way to baseball history. Another one-in-a-million MLB moment involving an illicit substance occurred in 2017, when St. Louis Cardinals catcher Yadier Molina was behind the dish. A hitter foul-tipped a ball back, and for a moment, neither Molina nor anybody else knew where the ball went. After a second, Molina realized that the ball had become stuck in his chest protector. While pine tar isn't illegal like LSD, it's supposed to be banned in baseball. Clearly, Molina wasn't content to sidestep this rule and help his pitchers doctor up baseballs in order to get a bit more spin and speed on the ball. But ball don't lie rings especially true in this instance. Be sure to leave a like on this video if you've ever been caught red-handed like Molina did. The MLB has had some incredible athletes suiting up for their squads in recent years, but the most athletic baseball player of all time remains Bo Jackson. And one play that the two-sport megastar made in 1990 is something fans will surely never see again, if only because nobody else on the planet is athletic enough to achieve it. Jackson was playing center field for the Kansas City Royals when a ball was hit into deep left center field. Bo comes barreling toward the warning track at full speed, refusing to take his eyes off the ball despite inching closer to the outfield wall. Jackson eventually makes the snag, while seeming to stumble a bit. But because he was moving so fast, Jackson didn't have time to slow down. So what did he do instead? He ran up the outfield wall, then came downwards like it was nothing. Bo knows how to look cool after catching a baseball. Speaking of athleticism, one play Chris Coughlin went viral in 2017 for one of the most athletic base-running feats we've ever seen. Coughlin was headed home after Toronto Blue Jays teammate Kevin Pillar hit a triple. While the ball reached catcher Yadier Molina a beat before Coughlin did, Coughlin managed to avoid a tag by jumping directly over Molina. Coughlin ended up somersaulting in the air, only returning to the ground once he was safe at home plate. While we might see that sort of airborne amazement during this year's Paris Olympics, it's safe to assume we won't see something like that in a baseball game anytime soon. But Rougned Odor had no idea where a ground ball was going to end up in a 2014 game. Odor was playing second base for the Texas Rangers when a grounder was headed his way. Right as Odor bent down to make the play, the ball took a strange bounce and disappeared inside his jersey. Slow-mo replay showed that the ball stuck between two of Odor's buttons on his jersey. While Odor was visibly upset about what was ultimately called an error, we bet he's laughing about the moment now, over a decade later. While Odor's example is of a ball getting stuck in a ridiculous place by accident, there have also been times when the ball became hidden from the field of play on purpose. We're talking about a game in 1989, when the San Francisco Giants were taking on the Chicago Cubs. A Cubs hitter smacked a ground ball down on the right field line, toward the Giants' bullpen. Back then, the Giants relievers had their own sort of dugout behind the right field line, complete with a door and roof. And the door happened to be opened when this ball was hit, and headed straight for inside. Giants reliever Craig Lefferts tried to close the door before the ball snuck in, but he was too late. The ball shot right through the door a moment before Lefferts managed to get it shut. The video makes it look like Lefferts meant to swipe the ball, but he claims otherwise. Either way, the moment made a confusing, albeit hilarious, moment that will never be replicated.